So what is the science of nutrition? I've defined it here. Nutrition science investigates the role of nutrition in maintaining good health and preventing or treating disease. So let's delve into that definition a little bit more and discover what nutrition science is based on. Nutrition science is based on sociology, the sociology of how people choose foods. Sociology includes cultural preferences for food, or indeed cultural foods that are avoided. Within each preference or food avoidance pattern, there are a variety of different healthy eating patterns that we'll discuss as the year proceeds. Nutrition science is also based on public health and how nutrient excesses or nutrient deficiencies, particularly in vitamins and minerals, that can lead to disease in populations. Nutrition science is based on the biology of how the body processes the nutrients that we eat. And it's also based on the biochemistry of those nutrients once we've absorbed them into our body. Here I have a diagram showing the metabolic pathways that many of the nutrients that you eat feed into. Don't worry, this is not a biochemistry course, so I'm not going to ask you to memorize metabolic pathways, but we will discuss some of the key biochemical properties of the nutrients that you eat as the year goes on. The science of nutrition is based on genes and how our inherited genes respond to nutrients. This is the subject of nutrigenomics, and it studies how diet affects genes and how genes can indeed affect the choices that we make of our diet. Don't worry, if you have a healthy lifestyle and make healthy food choices, in general, those choices best your genetic inheritance, and you can prevent disease through healthy choices. Science of nutrition is based on medicine. Within this course, we'll talk about the nutrition disease spiral. Now, what is the nutrition disease spiral? Well, basically, it's a situation where through poor nutrition, malnutrition, deficiencies, or indeed even excesses, a person's metabolism or nutritional status becomes impaired, leading to weakened immune system, disease, and as this progresses, worsening disease. Now, with worsening disease, frequently nutrition status will deteriorate further, the foods being eaten will deteriorate, and disease will worsen. This spiral gets worse and worse with time. We'll talk a little bit about how we can use medical nutrition therapies to intervene in this disease nutrition spiral to both prevent disease or indeed to help people be cured when they are in a disease nutrition spiral. So let's summarize. Nutrition science is based on the sociology of how people choose food, public health, the nutrient excesses and nutrient deficiencies, and the diseases that arise from those excesses and deficiencies. It's on the biology of how the body processes the nutrients that we eat, and then the biochemistry of what the body does with those nutrients once we've ingested them. Nutrition science discusses how our genes affect our responses to nutrients, and in fact how our nutrients can affect our genes. And lastly, we'll talk about the disease nutrition spiral and how nutrition can be used to prevent disease, and nutrition can be used, medical nutrition therapies can be used to treat disease. So how do we choose foods? At the top, I've got a basket full of food, and the bottom, I've got a couple of bags full of food. You can see in the basket, there are some processed foods like cereal, Coca-Cola, baked beans, ketchup, And at the bottom, I've got some healthy food choices like fruits, vegetables, dairy products. How is it that we choose these foods when we go to the supermarket? There's a variety of different factors that influence our choices, including preference, what foods do you like to eat? Social, what are those people around us eating in our social groups? Ethnic or regional choices influence our food choices. There are religious and value-based choices. For example, many people choose to eat a vegetarian diet and not eat meat. That's a value-based decision, and that's a very healthy eating pattern. Price and availability are factors in how we choose foods. A healthy diet should be an affordable diet. Emotions affect our food choices. For example, I like chocolate or ice cream when I'm feeling a little down. There are associative choices with the foods that we eat. For example, if I go to a ballpark, I might eat a hot dog, and that's because I associate hot dog eating with going to see a baseball game. And lastly, there's appetite. How hungry you are affects the foods that you choose to eat. Although I think that's a relatively minor factor. In fact, habits and some of these other factors affect our daily food choices more than appetite. So what do we need from food? I've broken it down into two main categories. The first is energy. We need energy for peak physical and mental performance. The next, nutrients or building materials. I've illustrated them here as Lego blocks, but we need nutrients to build and rebuild our body continuously throughout life. In the next lectures, we'll be discussing those nutrients specifically and how to get the correct amount of nutrients, the right types of nutrients to maintain